Yes, keep going. You wanted this pain. Damn. Woo! I see you got a pump. Folks, I'm Dr. Mike for RP Strength. This is Eric Janicki, and he's large and muscular and lean.
Definitely not in charge in this scenario.
I mean, I would let you. You know what? Let's just start on a clean.
Let's wait on that. You know.
American, highbrow, 1950s family kind of note. What are we here to do? We're here to train back. And Eric hit me up, and because he's 3.5 weeks out from pro competition or from pro qualifier and then potentially pro competition, he's like, hey man, I would prefer not to do super heavy hip hinges, and I prefer not to do a ton of pull-up movements, mostly because I just don't want to risk the injury at this point in the prep. And it's so funny because he sent me that text, but I already made the workout on the RP Hypertrophy app, and the workout was relatively light super full range of motion row, relatively light super full range of motion other kind of row, and then light super high rep pull down. So I was like, it's perfect. And I would have never put in heavy hip hinges or anything like that in a pre-contest program, because that kind of stuff is sweet for building muscle in some contexts, but especially as you get closer to show, it's no bueno because the injury probability escalates. So we're gonna do cambered bar rows, we're gonna do cable flexion rows, and then we're gonna do pull-ups in a giant set style, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. Let's go train that back, yeah?
Let's go, let's hit it, I'm ready.
You seem to take your warm-ups really seriously.
Very.
Why?
I want to feel the weight in the way it's intended to be felt, so that if I'm like, ooh, I really feel that stretch in the warm-up, and I can find that perfect bar path with a weight that's obviously very safe and not going to injure me, then I can take those same cues and work them into my working sets.
Yeah, the warm-up's kind of a reintroduce yourself to lifting weights kind of thing. Because we've been doing this a long time, you know how to lift weights. But I'd say if you show up to the gym cold, your technique, precision, mind-muscle connection, specific bar path is gonna be like 95% as good as it could be. And that's an A, but we want A+. So that warm-up makes it 100% awesome mind-muscle connection, super technique, and the injury risk stuff is just not really up for debate.
Yeah, and I think also like you're priming your CNS. So like, I think everybody can agree, they'll usually feel a little better in their like third, fourth, fifth, sixth working set of a workout than they do in their very first. So like, if you can start warming up the body appropriately, then you're gonna get into that kind of rhythm faster.
Yes. Even your first set can be really good. I'd say it's cool if your second set feels better, but if it's fourth, fifth, sixth, you didn't warm up right.
Yes.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. All right.
So we're just milking this one to the end of time here.
When your technique is no longer sufficient, I'll give you 1 warning, clean it up. When I give you 2 warnings, put it down. Do your best.
What if my best isn't enough for you? That was terrifying.
Folks, 2 things real quick. Thing number 1, Eric weighs 260 pounds. He can do over a dozen what I would call very strict pull-ups with that body weight, which very few people can do. And with 2 plates, 225 pounds on a properly executed cambered bar row, and this one is the hinge version too, which is a little easier. He just got basically what, 8 reps or something like that?
9 or 10, something like that.
9 or 10 reps. That means that the exercise is very difficult, it is executed properly, and it's leveraged against you. The camber does not help you do the movement, it makes it more difficult. The deep stretch, the eccentric control, the huge bend make it tougher, and that means your muscles get a huge stimulus, but you don't have to lift hundreds and hundreds of pounds. It's awesome to bent row 405 or whatever bent row in quotations, but as far as how much fatigue and injury risk you get, there's not a huge upside versus Instagram video. The second thing I gotta mention is, you'll notice that as he's rowing, he's coming up substantially. Typically, we would consider that cheating, because typically it's done just to cheat, get more reps out. But here, It's on purpose, it's planned, because at the bottom he gets that deep stretch. But at the very top, if he was to not come up, stay bent over, the leverages here suck. The leverages here are pretty good. Almost everyone will stop many reps short just because they can't touch their tummy anymore. By letting him come up and leverage a bit, he can get a few extra reps. He's no longer as limited by that bottom stretch. And he gets the combination of awesome bottom stretch and more repetitions through a full range of motion. This is an advanced technique. You have to understand how to do it stably for months until you start moving at the hips. And it's at the hips, not at the spine. One more good one.
Ooh. Take one more, take one.
Yeah, let's do it. Good eccentric control. Control. Good job here, good technique. Last set. Slow, deep stretch. That's it. Slow, 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 and down. God damn, that'll work.
I'll do the trick.
So, cable flexion rows. I got a wacky setup because we need the extra range of motion.
Of course.
Ploop down, foot in the dumbbell, get your positioning. And then what you're gonna do is take a full rounded back all the way down, deep stretch for a second, and then come up, arch your back, tummy out, and just gently touch your tummy. So, gently touch. Beautiful. So same idea, eccentric control is great, but on the concentric, I want you to be athletic and stick that tummy out, touch real quick. This is the guy the exercise was invented for. Big stretch. Good. Yes. Go, go, go. Finish, finish. Slow, as if you're gonna do another. Rack.
So for me, personally, like, I feel like these accomplish something similar to the Cambered Bar Row personally, but for me, this is an S tier exercise, whereas the Cambered Bar Row, just because of the T component, drops down to, for me, just personally, closer to B to C, just because this, we're gonna be horizontally loading. It's so much less taxing on your low back, but also I feel like I get so much better peak contraction with that vector, of course, coming from in front than having to worry about balancing.
Yes.
225, pulling me down towards the floor.
And because of that dynamic motion in the mid-back, it actually fucks up your mid-back part of your erectors, which is kind of sweet because when you hit that lat spread, like that's the shit that fucking hangs out. People ask about how to get back thickness. I mean, look no further. And it's trippy too because people talk about back thickness, but they just keep talking about the lats all the time. Like there's other shit on your back that makes it much more thick than your lats. So definitely something to give some thought to.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I do differently than I know you do is that a lot of times I'll find that stretch and instead of like almost exploding from that lengthened position, what I'll do is like, I'll be very acute in my concentric control. So once I found it, now I'm pulling through those spinal rectors, through those little lats, even through that like infraspinatus, all of those little connected muscles you're talking about. And for me, it allows me to even use even less weight with that crazy concentric control.
switch to the other technique and catch a couple more.
Copy.
Huge stretch. 2 more. Good. Huge stretch, as if another deep stretch. Yes.
Sometimes I'll scale the tempo like we did on that set. So it's almost a mechanical drop set in the sense of I'm not changing the weight, but I'm slightly changing the form so I can continue to progress through more reps with good form, but I might not be doing the concentric control. Then I drop the concentric control and then I do what you're saying, more explosive on the positive. And then what I sometimes do even in my last set, is once I can't even do those, then with really good control still, I'll fire through a little bit of more. What you can see is like for reps.
Sure.
Because that connection, mind muscle connection is so great at that point. And I have so much blood flow that the risk of injury is low. And I know I'm not ego lifting because I just did 15 reps with like crazy good
You're also
form.
too tired to get hurt because you can't produce that much force anymore.
So it's different than, let's say if I started with that form with twice as much weight in the very first rep.
Another cool thing to try in that thing as a third option is like lengthen partials. Just do the bottom third or bottom half for until you can't move anymore, and that really picks you up. All right, whenever you're ready, get yourself strapped in. Set 3, last set here. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Touch the knees every time. Yes. Control the eccentric too. Yes. Yes, keep going. You wanted this pain. Damn. I see you got a pump. Holy shit.
10 out of 10 exercise.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I've introduced quite a few people to the Flexion Row, and most people think it's pretty swell. Eric's gonna warm up really quick. We're gonna go through the technique really quick, and then it's 50 total reps, as many sets as it takes. This is a sweet thing to do if you have one of 2 concerns. One of 3, really. One is you wanna save some time, because you can pound a ton of reps in if you take like 20 to 30 second breaks, a couple more reps, Another one is an intensifier, because every set after the first one, the vast fraction of those reps are starting to get really close to failure. So the number of effective reps, so to speak, goes up significantly. Put another way, the number of approaches to failure you have in 50 total reps is gonna be way higher than if you did like, 5 by 10 or something like that, because a lot of those are lead-in reps and they're not the super hard ones. Another thing is, because each set, you don't really care how many reps you get, as long as they all add up to 50, you can do the Eric Janicki shit and get really in that mind-muscle connection. Just focus on every rep being perfect. All you need to think about is, am I doing this right? Because if we have reps from last week that we have to match on pull-ups and stuff, it's a performance exercise, that makes sense. But sometimes in exercises which, like technique, mind-muscle connection really pays dividends, and lat pull-downs is one of them for many people, it's a really good idea. Every now and again, just give yourself a total rep goal. Give yourself 20 to 30 seconds, break between sets, and just go. And every time it's 2 things, intensity and perfect technique. That way, it might take you 6 sets, it might take you 8 sets, but all the way through, you're getting the 50 total reps, which is the great equalizer for how much stimulus you get, and your quality is gonna be really high. And because it's a huge density, you're gonna get a crazy pump. And as soon as you get that pump, what you're gonna do with it, I know exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna come up to that one bitch you never talked to because you don't got no balls. But now you don't need balls, you have lats. So you're like, done here. Oh, it's all latted out. What up? Hey, what up, baby? Oh, see that shit? Bitches can't resist. But motherfucker with big lats, they go for one thing, and it's not your lats. Stay in school, kids. You're gonna get to 50 like that?
Man, we got off day, right?
Yeah, 11's a little low. I was hoping for 15 to 20.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. No worries. This 50 is an insane amount to do at that load. Let's switch you to 40 and keep the load the same.
What's the rest time? Just like enough to catch your breath?
30 seconds to a minute until you feel pretty strong again. You're good.
I got 2 more. Just lost my off grip.
Cobra grips, huh?
I know, right? Fucking forearms.
Just kidding.
I know, right?
That was 18.
I believe so, yeah. 7
Super.
on top.
22 left. Take a break. When you're ready to go again, we'll go again. All right, let's hit at least 8 good ones here. All right, 13, let's do 2 sets to finish this off. Let's get at least 7 here. At least 1 more. 33 and then slow. That's it. There you go. Look at him all Frank Zane and shit. 7 reps here. And if you can't, rack it, don't move, wait 5 or 10 seconds, finish the reps you didn't get. So let's start with 5 and go from there. $38. 39. Rest. Yeah. All right, catch that grip and hit it now. 1 last good one. Yes. Extra slow. And a 2-second hang. Yeah. That's the workout, man. Dude, you're glistening.
I'm listening. It's very hot in here.
The air is working now, I think.
I think it might have just kicked in right now.
Yeah.
For the very last set, maybe.
Yes. Amazing work today. What's your one take-home tip for folks watching about if I'm already lifting, I'm already pretty strong, but I need to get more of a connection with my back to make something happen back there? What's your biggest tip?
Find that stretch and pause in it. If you can get really comfortable in a stretch position on almost any back movement, whether it be a pullover, whether it be single arm, isolateral rowing, if you can get really comfortable stretched here, and then you can consciously drive through your back or that target muscle group, whether it be lats, rhomboids, traps, lower back, whatever it is, if you can find that stretch and get comfortable there, 95% of the time, you'll be able to pull correctly from that position. So also, it's just gonna keep you longer and healthier. If you train in those lengthened positions, you're gonna tend to keep that tissue nice and happy. So a lot of times I'll see when people are really like closed off, it's a lot harder for them to feel a really good back pump just because either their rear delts are so tight, their biceps are so tight, their lats are so tight. So it's harder to feel really good contraction. You might just feel like pain or like tightness. So those are some of my biggest, probably my one biggest tip.
Awesome, amazing. Folks, Eric's a man. Give him a follow on his YouTube channel. It's awesome. He's got an awesome Instagram and a TikTok as well.
I do TikTok. I hate TikTok, but mostly Instagram and YouTube. YouTube's growing very well.
Awesome. All right, folks. See you next time.